Assalamu alaikum. I'm Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. I wanted to bring my love and joy and support to Islamic Relief during this Ramadan season. Ramadan Mubarak to all of you.
Let us salute Islamic Relief USA for living up to the calling of this holy month, helping local organizations, providing food security, health care, and financial assistance to struggling communities and resettled refugees.
Our Muslim American community has been on the front lines in Florida's 9th Congressional District and other areas of the nation to help us recover.
I'm grateful for all the work they are doing in my district and around the world.
Islamic Relief USA is constantly working together for a better world.
Your charitable efforts to help reduce hunger, educate refugees, and assist survivors of domestic abuse embody the noble values that are honored in Ramadan.
Your work to put the Muslim values of community and charity into action has helped not only provide food, but also healthcare, financial assistance, and many more hit hardest by this pandemic.
Islamic Relief USA and the Muslim American community in my district have lived those values to the fullest these last 2 years.
Thank you to Islamic Relief USA for the work you do to lift the voices of Muslims all around the world.
As we continue to fight for a more just and more tolerant world, I am honored to be your partner in Congress.
It's this community care that binds us as a global human family.
We are better for all that you have contributed and the difference that you make.
I wish you and all of my Muslim brothers and sisters a blessed month of peace and spiritual renewal.
May peace and love be brought upon you. Ramadan Mubarak.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. It's me, Preacher Moss, host of the SOS, the Shout Out Show. Hope that you're having an exceptional Wednesday. It seems like the week is just flying by, man. It seems like we were just standing on the precipice of Saturday. Now we are here at Wednesday. I'm coming to you live from location here at Florence, Kentucky, basically known as Cincinnati Airport. I'm out here for some work. Shout out to the MSA at University of Cincinnati taking care of me. I look forward to doing a presentation with you guys later this week. And a couple things I want to make sure. I want to make sure that we give a really a healing dua for those that were affected in the subway shooting in New York. It's my estimation from the news that I've read that they have apprehended the suspect. Terrible news. It's just, clearly this suspect, I believe, is suffering from mental illness. A lot of people suffer from mental illness, and this is just yet another outgrowth, if you will. It's not aberration. This is happening a lot. So definitely hearts and duas out to those. Also, I want to make sure that we're very, very clear about the subject matter that we're going to talk about today. This is about valuing patience. Value patience. And the title is Worth Waiting For. Today is Jews number 12, ironically deals with both of those subject matters. It deals with envy and it also deals with patience. It's very easy to be in the throes of something, and in the throes of something, we forget ourselves. We literally will literally look inside of ourselves to look for answers for why the world is treating us a certain way, or we're going through particular situations, scenarios. It can be a plethora of things. It could be just stress. It could be career. It could be family. It could be finances. It could be all of these things. But, brothers and sisters, these are not things that people have not dealt with throughout the history of time and human existence. Thus, the parable that I'm going to talk about later today has to do largely with understanding patience. That it's not good things come to those who wait, because it may not come. But it's the practice and the trust that good things will come. Even if you don't necessarily see them, they may not come for you. But through your patience, it may be something that evolves and it spreads out to the rest of humanity. This is a big picture type of talk that we're going to do today. And when I say big picture, I will invoke the words of understanding the aspect of first principle. First principle, meaning that we are able to deduct things and take them apart and break it down to its bare essence. They said if you look at a tree and you look at the fruit, you've missed it all. You have to look at the root that produces the trunk that produces the fruit. We need to get back to that because we're in a very different world. When people talk to us about why things happen and why we have the issues that we have, and particularly the negative issues that impact us, people are very didactic in how they talk to the overall population, that people can't understand that, it's symptomatic. So you can have things that start here and end here, but people want you to believe that the end result has always been there. So for today, starting with, like I said, with Jews 12, we're going to break that down. And of course, the impetus is going to be on the aspect of prophets. There is no aspect of a prophet that comes to the human condition or comes to reveal themselves as a warner or giver of glad tidings without patience. Literally, one of the most problematic things you could probably be in this world is a prophet. Why? Because you're not only dealing with your patience, you're dealing with the patience of others. And it takes a different level of engagement for what they did. And it takes a different level. You can be, and we're not even talking prophets. You can talk about people who are peacemakers in this world. The Mahatma Gandhis, the Malcolm X's, the mega efforts. You can talk the Mother Teresa's, and they will all tell you literally that the stress is trying to hold on to an idea in the midst of people who don't value that same idea. Trying to frame out, brothers and sisters, that this is the core belief. And while it may not be apparent to you to follow this core belief right now, if you wait, the reality is coming. So we're going to talk about here on the Shout Out Show. Let's go ahead and get rolling. We got a lot of show today. Thank you guys for joining in advance. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All right, we're back. We'll give a shout out to brother JT in the house, better known as Johnny L. Thomas. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And Ramadan Kareem to you, dear brother. Thank you so much for tuning in. Got to give a shout out to the Salahuddin crew who are regular. Boy, y'all are regular, like government checks. Y'all are regular. Shout out to brother Bilal Salahuddin and sisters Sonia Dalton Salahuddin. Always repping the SOS family. We appreciate you. And my main man, Altaf Rashid. Altaf, we got a surprise for you at the end of the show, so don't go anywhere. We have a surprise for you. A surprise for everybody, but just for you, definitely. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to you first. And we appreciate you, all of you, joining the platform. We talk about, at the top of this thing, I talk about value patience. I'm going to be honest with you guys, literally, patience has really been, at the bedrock of everything I've done. Literally it's not done, but it's trying to, when you're trying to do things right, it's extremely difficult. So before I get going, let me also give a shout out to our consultant producer, Sister Satana Whitfield. What's going on? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to you and your family. Ramadan Kareem. If you get a chance to read the 12 Jews, which is the book of Surah Hud and Surah Yusuf, they are really two compelling pieces in terms of how we see ourselves, because one of the things in the concept of being what we call a foundational believer or a true believer is that at some point in time, you have to have an empirical trust in the Almighty. For Muslims, you have to have an empirical trust in Allah. Not that something is going to happen, but whatever happens, it's going to be in your best interest because Allah is going to take care of you. It's a very open-ended notion, but it's a very, very concise idea about what faith is. And faith largely is a companion of patience. You can't have one without the other. As we look through the scope of prophets that have come. Every prophet that came and was revealed to man had the same situation. And that same situation is, brothers and sisters, that the masses of which they came to inform, whether to give glad tidings or to give them warnings, were never in a space where they could receive the warnings, whether it be Ibrahim, whether it be Musa, whether it be Samuel, whether it be Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, whether it be Noah. They all were revealed in a time whereby the people that they went to inform, keep in mind, they are mercies to mankind and mercies to the particular people. They were never, ever ready to really accept what the whole message was. You know, we talk about Surah Asr. Surah Asr says, by the token of time through the ages, true man is in loss, except such have faith, perform righteous deeds, and join together in mutual teaching of true patience and constancy. Why true patience and constancy? Patience is in there largely because, brothers and sisters, you may have, just like all the prophets, may have the best of messages, the most clearest of messages. But the fact of the matter is, if the people that you're revealing it to don't have it, it'll never be received in the way you think it should be. Thus, you have to be constant. Thus, you have to be truthful. But thus, you have to have patience. Per se, it may be a good idea for you, but it may not be a good idea for them. Or better yet, it's a great idea for you, but it's just you. And you have to spend time going around trying to inform people like this is a good thing. You know, we talk about business practices and things like that. A lot of times people don't understand the business doesn't start out that way. You have a lot of doubters, you have a lot of detractors, and what you have to do is remain steady and stay the course and keep doing what you do. Stay true to your ideas. You know, these days, brothers and sisters, we don't have a large value on people staying true to their ideas. They are largely staying untrue to their ideas. They switch. They look for places to have advantage, and then they jump in on that. This is the mark of the hypocrite. Like I said, it's three people in the Quran, three different types of people in the Quran: the believer, the disbeliever, and the hypocrite. The hypocrite is the most dangerous of the three. But let me tell you why. Because the hypocrite has the space and the capacity, many times the intention to undermine, if you will, to undermine that patience. All the prophets faced people who undermine their message. You know, if you look at Noah, he spent years, brothers and sisters, trying to convince people that this is the message from our Lord. And finally, the Lord said, Noah, stop it. Stop it. I had enough, Noah. They don't want to build an ark. We're going to flood this place. And he built an ark. And he told people, I'm building an ark because it's going to be a flood. And they still didn't give it. Even his only son did not believe him. And his son said, he said, son, get in the boat. He said, nope, I'm going to find refuge in the mountains. Well, so long, son. But what am I saying, though? I'm saying in contemporary times, brothers and sisters, that this philosophy, if you will, this religious pedagogy ties into the fact that we have to have, in terms of patience, patience is largely a first principle. That you get into a situation, you don't necessarily know all the ins and outs and the nuances of a situation. Therefore, it's incumbent upon you to learn. Every prophet that came through had to learn about his people, had to learn their tendencies, had to learn what they were following. You know, whether it was idolatry, whether it was war, whether it was bad commerce, whatever it was. And they also looked to find out what was good in the society so that they can tailor their message to it. Over and over and over and over again, brothers, since we find that too often people put out messages that are exemplary of no patience, that are exemplary of a rushed mentality and a hushed logic. Let me tell you what I mean. When I say a rushed mentality, but a hushed logic. What I mean by that is people don't want you to understand where they're getting these ideas from. You know, they just want you to believe that my logic is somehow beyond compare, beyond reproach, that we can't even look at it and ask questions. Now, when you look at examples of this, brothers and sisters. There's another piece that goes to, and that other piece is envy. A large part of what we deal with is envy. And it's interesting because, we have a religion that gives you so many opportunities to move away or really expatriate yourself away from wrongdoing and sin. You have different ways that you could do it. You could do an actual good deed. You can go directly to your Lord. You can do all of these things, brothers and sisters, but we tend to look to the lower aspect of who we are. I want to say the lower rungs our own human compassion, because we tend to look at people and go, well, he's doing it, but he shouldn't be doing it. I should be doing it. I should be getting the rewards and things like that. And that leads us into Surah Yusuf. This is a man whose brothers tried to kill him. They threw him in a hole. They sold him to people. They lied to their own father that he was killed. And this man endured. Well, we say, how did he endure? Well, he endured because he had patience. Tawakkul. You see, when he was dumped in that hole, literally, he had no idea that he'd be advising kings. When he was locked up and in prison for inappropriateness with the chief's wife who lied on him, he said, I'd rather go to prison than go this other route. I'd rather stay in prison and go this other route, which is a non-patient route. It was a lying route. It was a complicity route. He said, I'd rather stay in prison until finally she said, what I accused him of, he did not do. But look at what I'm saying. He was willing to go to stay in prison until the truth came out. How many of us are willing to do that? Let me give a shout out to Mama Son, Miss Mary Moss, saying, have a great day, SOS family. Also, we got checking in, Sister Ree, what's going on? On another spot, Sister Nolens, what's going on? Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. But this whole thing, what's going on, Brother Eric? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ramadan Mubarak, sir. But I'm trying to bring this to a space, if you will. One space is having patience. The other space is dealing with envy. And the last piece that we should not overlook is the ability, brothers and sisters, to understand that we have pathways to forgiveness when all of those things crumble down. When we're not patient. When we're envious of other people. I work in the entertainment business. The entertainment business is built upon unresolved envy. That a competition is set up because we're not set up, or we're not promoted to resolve differences within ourselves, and we put them in a big marketplace. And the worst thing is we monetize it. Or agents and managers, they monetize this confusion in us, and we find ourselves doing things that we would normally not ever do. We not even broach it. But now we find ourselves in these situations. And, brothers and sisters, Hollywood is not built on patience. It's built on a hurried mentality that's absence of logic. Because everybody believes, I'm going to get to this place. I must get to this place first before everybody else, even if it doesn't have any value. When you start thinking about this, patience has so much to do with how we frame our character, how we raise our children, how we deal with our politics, how we deal with our religion. I've never wanted to be a part of a religion that just didn't have patience. I never wanted to be a part of a project that didn't somehow have patience, because patience represents a certain intelligence. It tells me that things are not going to go wrong. It doesn't mean that I have to wait. It doesn't mean that. But it does mean that, you're going to have a quotient of letting things develop. The worst thing that you could do is push something too hard, get frustrated, and stop. And then your goal was right in front of it, but you didn't have patience. It works in business. It works in relationships. And I'm just here to tell everybody here, I am a firm believer in the idea of patience. So we're going to take a quick break, brothers and sisters. We're going to be right back. This is a message from Islamic Relief. Stay tuned.
Sponsor an orphan, and you'll help support a vulnerable child to have the education they've always dreamed of, so they can build a brighter future. you'll be feeding a hungry stomach and a hungry mind with knowledge that will last them a lifetime. That's the power of an education. Sponsor an orphan now with Islamic Relief.
All right, we're back. Shout out to Islamic Relief. So, I want to take a quick note. A very good friend of mine is not doing so well. I won't say his name on the air because he get upset, but I'm going to ask everybody to send some du'as and blessings to the Washington, D.C. area. My friend, he's a good brother, but, sometimes we all need to just reach out, put our hands out. We need to put those du'as out into the universe for anybody that needs them. So I'm going to ask everybody to do that for my good friend. But let's talk about this whole idea. Let's get to our Jews reflection because I've already touched on it. Part of the Jews reflection of today, that's yesterday, but part of the Jews reflection of today has to do so much with, can we really, really be patient? Someone said, can you afford to be patient? And I think the thing that I thought about when I heard that statement is, well, are you really, really in a place where you're all knowing, where things are being revealed in front of you and it may look like a desperate situation or whatever. And in that point in time, we can lose ourselves, brothers and sisters. We can forget about the fact that we're blessed beyond recognition. We are blessed beyond our own comprehension. But when something goes wrong, that space, that one modality of patience somehow goes out the window. And we look for answers other than our Lord. We look for answers other than the religious teachings, the spiritual guidance that we've had. We look to people, So I know when COVID hit, money was short. And so people look to these banks, these predatory lenders to solve their problems. And they got into relationships with predatory lenders and they wound up losing their houses and their cars because predatory lenders banked on the fact that we're not patient, that we're not willing to ride it out, that we're not willing to find different alternatives to finances and have conversations with people, real conversations about how we're doing. Because sometimes we're so embarrassed that we got to a certain place in time and they lost their homes. There's a whole industry, brothers and sisters, is based on the fact that people know they're not patient. The credit card industry is the same thing. Oh, that shirt costs $100. Oh, you don't have it, we'll give you credit for it. Credit is based on the fact that you're gonna have patience because you're gonna pay for a shirt. It's $100. By the time you finish paying it off, you pay $300. You see how this works? Our reflection today has something to do, and I love the story of Yusuf because Yusuf represents an empowering hope. He represents a distilled type of patience that we don't see in the world anymore. That's why these people are prophets, and that's why they're deemed divine revelations to us. They have narratives and parables that are framed after their experiences. And I look at Yusuf, and there's a book called Revelation of the Unseen, Fut al-Ghaib, and they talked about understanding your station in life. And this is what I mean by your station in life, that, wherever you are in the world, this is religious speak, wherever God puts you in the world, wherever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts you in the world, you have to be content with that. That we don't question, that we don't bellyache, that we don't bemoan the fact that, we're here for a reason. And it took me a lot of years to get to that point whereby something would happen and I didn't go over the edge trying to talk about what so-and-so and da-da-da. When something will befall me and it would be perceived as negative, I would say thank you, understanding that it could have been massively more negative. And that whole idea of a test or a challenge, these are promised. And so taking it and accepting it as a challenge and accepting my station for whatever was going to happen, learn to be one of the most powerful things, one of the most empowering things I ever gone through. Like I can literally sit and go, the world is moving that way, it's moving that way, but I'm supposed to be right here and love the fact that I'm informed that this is what this process is about. A lot of people are fearful too. Fear breeds that envy a lot of times, that, I don't, so-and-so don't have it, so-and-so don't have it. It's like, look, man, look to the patience of the prophets. Look to the fact that none of them was really well received, that people found them to be crazy, out of sync, and irrelevant. Noah was around 900 some years before the flood actually came. Think about that. 900 years of telling people the water's coming. They're like, come on, Noah, stop. Stop, Noah. And when it finally came, well, you know the rest. So listen, we're going to give a shout out. We're going to go out differently today. One of our spotlight guests on Saturday will be none other than Nader Khan. He is an accomplished nasheed singer. For those that don't understand nasheed, it's sort of like Muslim gospel music. This is Ramadan. This is a special time of year. I told you, Altaf, we had something special. He has a song called Ramadan in Toronto, and I love this song. I just want you guys to check it out. I will be back here tomorrow, inshallah. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is the SOS, the Shout Out Show. We will see you tomorrow. Let's roll it. Nader Khan.
Feels like home. Ramadan in Toronto.
A new moon is hanging low in the scarlet western sky. Prayers brushing their lips, gratitude in their eyes, light upon light. The break of dawn and Mama smile, and it feels like home. Ramadan in Toronto. The sun, she goes marching on, just like the midday feet. Buses and bicycles moving from street to street, light upon light. Patient moments, thankful sighs, and it feels like home. Ramadan in Toronto. Then the shadows grow tall, pointing towards the east. Loved ones have just arrived, Grandma's old country treats, light upon light. Blessed words we now recite, and it feels like home. Ramadan in Toronto. Dates under crimson sky, someone somewhere will pour coffee, masala chai, or a Timmy's cup for sure. Light upon light. Oh, break the fast and glorify, and it feels like home. Ramadan in Toronto. The stars are whirling with joy, and angels testify. Heads resting on the floors, hearts leaping through the skies. Light upon light. Eyes that dream while awake at night, and it feels like home. Ramadan in Toronto. Ramadan in Toronto. Light upon light. 1,000 months in a single night, and it feels like home. Ramadan in Toronto.